I guess the recap for Mandalorian Chapter 10 is pretty simple. It picks off exactly where exactly exactly where Chapter 9 left off. Mando's just, scooting on by and still covered in slime and everything. Runs into some scavengers, I guess, because they didn't seem to care about him at all. They just wanted his stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? So runs into some scavengers. I didn't think there was anything notable there. Like not really any new species or anything that was like, oh, cool, this is a pull from.
Yeah, I think it's just a fun little fight scene to watch.
Yeah. So we have that. Then back to, it looks like Mos Eisley is Cantina, so fun to go there again. Then off to an extra stop on an ice world with creepy ass spiders. Run into the New Republic. And that's basically the broad scope of the episode, right? And then back on our way to wherever the hell they're going. A planet one sector over from
Trask.
Tatooine. Yeah, Trask. Okay. So I thought it was interesting that this chapter two kind of mimicked last chapter two almost in a way. The original chapter two, the second episode in the first Mandalorian, they have Mando kind of he deals with the Jawas in chapter two. So like nothing really actually advances in the story, like the overall story. So I thought that was kind of interesting that they mimicked that again.
Um, it's a good point. I didn't even realize that.
And then this was a new director. First time this person's ever directed a Star Wars show that I'm aware
As a director,
of. Now I need to pull that up. I'm an idiot. It was Peyton something. I'm trying to remember who because I remember reading about it.
yeah. Well, and if I'm not gonna see them in Clone Wars or Rebels, because that's all Dave Filoni, and they didn't direct anything in season one, so
Where's IMDb? What the hell? How's this hard? So hard to find IMDb. Thank you. I was like, how is that not the first thing that pulls up? So cast and crew question mark episode guide. Okay, well I'll find that. But I thought it was interesting. We got a new director. Um, and I think honestly for me the cool stuff all came in the beginning of the episode. The end was kind of like stuff I didn't end up actually caring about. But
I'm agree.
I thought it was cool they brought in the ant guy. The ant guy is actually a species that was seen in A New Hope's Cantina. So I pulled that up for the stream. Um, that's like the quick little shot of it. It's just a weird ant costume in A New Hope. And in Legends, it randomly got some treatment. This is like a shot from like a Legends comic, but I thought that was kind of interesting that they brought that back. Um, their species is called like a Yamri. I think that's how you pronounce it. Not entirely sure, but I thought it was kind of cool. Just I think for me, anytime they're bringing in like a background character from the Cantina, which they have done several times throughout the series of The Mandalorian, that's always fun for me to
Mm-hmm.
see. Like to see them just because even though the Yamri, our ant boy, didn't do anything besides say, hey, go to this planet, you'll find some people, it'll be cool, rock on, right? It was still kind of cool
Mm-hmm.
just to see them actually addressed again, and
I think that's something that Mandalorian does really well is bringing back things that aren't necessarily touched on. So like I mean in season one you had like the Loath Cat and then you have our what is it? Not R5.
the Devorians, that was cool.
Yeah. You have like the Natus as well from like, the KOTOR games
Oh
and
yeah, okay.
parrots. Like I just feel like they do a really good job of incorporating that stuff, and I think like probably one of my favorite parts of this episode, if not my favorite part, was the fact that they were cooking the Krayt Dragon with the engine, just like you see in Batu.
Oh, that's. I mean, I remember just like noticing that when it happened, but I totally forgot about it now, which makes me feel
Yeah,
super dumb.
but that's probably my favorite part.
Yeah, just they're always. Um, Cody and I made a post about the Tusken Raiders riding single file, right?
Hmm.
And how like I mean in general like it's kind of joked about, right? But like at the end of the day, it is pretty much a throwaway line from Obi-Wan Kenobi, even if it's the only real like factoid we know about them. It's still like a
Yeah,
throwaway line, and you know Dave and John won't just like we're showing the Tusken Raiders. We're obviously going to show it, and they show them several times. There's like I think 5 different shots in chapter 9 of Tusken Raiders riding in single file. And I mean, I posted it and was like, super cool to see them paying attention to the little details, and that's really what I think The Mandalorian is for the hardcore Star Wars fans. Is I mean, it's a cool show about a dad and his baby. That's the cutest damn thing in the world. But it's all the little details. It's the throwaway lines. It's the background characters. It's even incorporating Batu back into this.
yeah,
Even though Batu's not something you think about as little, but like I mean, it's a super cool place, and it's cool to see how holistic it all is. I guess you know, Star Wars is connected, and it's important to show that even in a theme park.
yeah. Which I mean, I think like you definitely said a lot better than me. I mean, it's 2 in the morning. I'm exhausted, so your words are definitely more put together than mine. But that's something that I've loved that the Mandalorian has done is just really bringing it together, like and not just saying, oh yeah, this is the Mandalorian, and we're gonna do whatever the Mandalorian is, and we're not really gonna focus on other things, you know, like how
Right, that's a good point.
it's all they make an effort, especially Dave Filoni makes an effort to really bring in these things to connect it all, which I'm really glad they said, like the Tusken Raiders, and then of course there's stuff from Galaxy's Edge, from you're even bringing in Clone Wars now, if this really is Ilum, but that's a whole other conversation.
True. Do you think it is a planet we've been to before?
I don't
I don't think
as
so
much
either.
because as much as it looks like Ilum, you can tell just from certain aspects of it, it's not
True.
because
And I was talking to, I think it was JW actually, about the time period, and I was like, you know what? I don't
mm-hmm,
know when, but I would imagine the Ilum would look so different because it's been roughly 20 years since we've seen it, right? Because Fallen Order
mm-hmm.
probably takes place roughly 20 years before this. I don't.
Yeah, and that's a big thing to mention is if that really was Ilum, you would have seen like the crater,
Right. Like there should
and you
be,
didn't.
if there's not First Order presence or like remnants of the Empire presence strongly there, there it's gonna look drastically different. It's gonna be very noticeable that something's going wrong, and I would expect that there already is some
Mm-hmm.
type of presence there.
See, like I think my number one thing is that if the New Republic and the Rebellion knew where Ilum was,
Hmm.
then they wouldn't like the Empire made such a big deal of keeping Ilum a secret. I
Right,
mean, they didn't even tell the top-ranking like admirals about Project Stardust. I mean,
right,
they kept that so secret from that because they didn't want anyone finding out about this. So I can't imagine it like the New World just coming in and then there wouldn't be like a whole debacle when the First Order comes in and tries to take it over because that just doesn't make sense, and I can't see Filoni overlooking that detail.
right. And like I mean, it's clearly being patrolled by the New Republic, so that'd be pretty ridiculous if it was
Right,
just like if there's New Republic ships just flying over and like, holy shit, I wonder what they're digging down there, right? That would be that
right,
wouldn't make any freaking sense.
no, not at all. So,
I was trying to check
like,
my
as
book, but I can't find. I guess they didn't label
What are
where.
you looking for?
I was just trying to see Evermap. I was trying to
Oh, it's
see if
okay.
this
So if
one
I'm
had
looking
labeled it
at
as.
top left,
I got nothing. I was expecting to see like Starkiller Base or something, but I don't see it at all.
I'm not sure it's in the map, but I know it's like the top left in those kind of unknown region outer rim area.
Right, and then I mean,
Oh.
Tatooine's like all mid rim, and that's just down here, so it's kind of interesting. So I mean, I don't think it is Ilum. That would be weird. I do think it's a new planet that we've never been
Mm-hmm.
to, and then obviously Ilum wouldn't make sense for the logistics of like what it would look like, and the First Order clearly wanting to keep it a secret from the New Republic. But when you're talking about Batu, that reminded me of a point. Actually, I was talking to my dad about this, and we were talking about how Batu is kind of it's really cool, but at the same point, it's kind of weird because it only fits in a very specific time period of Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which it makes sense that Disney chose the time period that it's most in control of. I mean, I can totally talk about that more
I
later,
mean,
but
actually, not necessarily.
I guess like my
Not
question was going
necessarily.
to be, do you think Mando would ever stop by Batu? I
Absolutely.
I was like, I think that would be kind of a neat, unique way, and if they did it, I think that would just make Batu even cooler, I guess, because it could have pull from two different time periods, but then also just like the concept of, you can incorporate Mando in where right now it feels limited and tell Disney's going to do something else that.
So, I don't know. Have you read any of the Thrawn books?
Not any of the canon ones, no.
Okay. There's the problem. So, Batu is actually in all three eras. So they go during the Republic, Anakin, Thrawn, Padme are on Batu during
Hmm.
the Clone Wars, and then they go Vader, Thrawn go back to Batu during the Empire, and then of course now you have the sequel trilogy too.
Right, which is very cool. And I mean, it's just seeing it is like, a big thing for a lot of people, seeing Batu, which we've
Mm-hmm.
never actually seen on screen. So I think it'd be cool to stop by because this would be 20-ish years. It should be
This would
being
be a cool
settled
place
right
to
now,
do.
right?
Hmm?
Shouldn't this no? Well,
No, it's
okay.
already.
This is 25 years, 20, 25 years before you would be going to Batu in yeah, when you would be stopping by, basically, right? It'd be 25 to 28 years. So, what would be going on now at Batu if Mando, pit stopped? What would he find there?
Um, he wouldn't find a lot. It would probably just be chilling. There's no First Order presence. I don't believe there's an Imperial presence there. I generally think it's just kind of chilling.
It should just be the original settlers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be kind
Yeah.
of interesting, and then he could, kind of leave some sort of mark there, and then you can buy Baby Yoda merch there,
Yeah,
which
and
is
one thing I
important.
do want to mention is Batu is a really good place for him to go because everyone stops at Black Spire Outpost.
Right.
Like that's the place you go if you're looking for something.
So
So I think that would actually be a really good incorporation into this if they brought in Batu because that is a place where people go to get information.
true, yeah. And if he's and this season seems to be where the hell am I supposed to go?
Yeah.
Times infinity. So I think stopping off at Batu would just be such a good, really bringing it all together. First of all, but then just kind of it would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Yeah.
would be nice. And then just segueing back real quick, Peyton Reed was the director,
Mm-hmm.
and Peyton Reed, his stuff includes he did Ant-Man, Ant-Man and the Wasp, whereas or his most recent director stuff. He's done a few different like he did a couple episodes of New Girl. He directed Jim Carrey's The Yes Man back in 2008. If anyone's seen that, it's a fun movie.
That's a good movie.
So he definitely seems to delve more into like the comedy side of things. He did The Breakup as well in 2006.
So now that you mentioned that he did Ant Man and the Wasp, it actually makes sense why that ant figure looked like he did. Because as soon as I saw the ant, I'm like, hey, it kind of looks like the ants in Ant Man.
That's kind of funny, yeah. And it's kind of cool that he would chose to bring in the Yamri. I think,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the Yamris as the Ant-Man and
Yeah,
Wasp director. That's kind of like a neat tidbit.
yeah,
So I don't know. I thought overall the episode was well directed. I mean, I didn't care for the spiders, and I don't care for episodes that kind of go nowhere, I guess. At the end of the day, chapter
yeah. This
2
is
I
just
liked more than this one because to me I was like it was all about Jawas. And being like a Star Wars fan from like originals, Jawas are super cool, but you never learned a lot about them. So like that's very much like, oh my gosh, I love Jawas. I want to learn more about these guys. Where this one was more of like it went nowhere, but you didn't go into a lot of like, you know, you didn't go back into a species that you hadn't seen a lot about before. It was
mm-hmm.
just like introducing a new frog species and scary ass spiders.
Yeah. Which I mean, I kind of did a little bit of research on them, and tried to find similarities between like the white spiders that we've seen before. So like the
Right.
albino spider Akashic can't be that. I would think it's like a descendant or a relative of the Adelon spiders because those are very similar, and the only difference is they have pinchers. The Adelon
Mm.
spiders have pinchers, where these guys have little sucker things.
Yeah, whatever the hell that was about. That was freaking creepy. That's
And,
all that was.
yeah, I literally like the entire time I was just thinking of Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Yeah, it pretty much looked like that, except for, there was no flying car to save them, so that was kind of rough.
Right, it's a ship that can't fly.
Interesting. A little backwards there. It was cool to see Dave Filoni back in the saddle, and I thought it was interesting how they kind of chose to recap that entire episode, because I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, that's really weird that they're showing that. Um,
Yeah, and like especially mentioning the New Republic officer Devin, Davin,
Gavin.
Devin, because that was Matt Lanner's character,
Oh, yeah?
Lanner's.
Okay.
Yeah, that was his character.
So that was kind of cool. I mean, it was cool to bring them in and then kind of, further them on, see him in a little bit of a speaking role beside just kind of pulling up next to him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I thought it was cool that they like kind of went over and recapped the episode for him.
Yeah,
Where they're like, "Hey, you did all these things and you have a run after your wrist, but you kind of, fixed it by da 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 da." So I thought that was interesting.
but
I
we're
thought
still not
those,
happy with you.
yeah, but you still suck, and we're not gonna help you because, I mean, honestly, I do think that's a cool theme. Is that no one really likes the New Republic,
Yeah.
so I thought that was kind of a
See,
cool theme. That's been
what I think.
present across lots of Star Wars mediums. That everyone's like, well, okay, it's better than the Empire, but honestly, this kind of sucks.
Yeah, and what I think is really interesting is that the rebellion was all about helping people,
Hmm.
like no matter what. And then you have the New Republic, which derived from that, and they're not. Like you see in that episode, like he's asking for help, and he's like, "No, you're on your own."
Hmm.
Like that kind of goes against everything that the rebellion stood for, and
Right.
forming a government out of that rebellion that doesn't make sense. Like what happened along those lines where they're not helping people like that anymore?
And then like a similar thing was that the squadron storyline, they kind of go over, hey, it's when they switch into the New Republic versus kind of the Rebellion, they're talking about like more of the rules to their fighting and how they have to fight differently and how. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
it's different because like they're talking about having to be more like kind of civil and not doing like these small skirmishes, but rather like fighting for the New Republic. But it's still kind
Mm-hmm.
of like how even people are just like, well, I don't like us doing like this. I miss being the rebellion. I miss being like kind of like a little outlaw guy, just kind of just going out and helping people and just fighting for what's right now and
Yeah,
fighting for a government. So it's kind of interesting. Like even Cara Dune's all like, I don't want to be.
yeah,
I
I
don't
want to be a
like.
part of that.
I'm done with this. It's just all politics. We're not doing anything.
Yeah, and you can even see that difference in Alphabet Squadron as well. Like you can see how Hera went from, being kind of like that outlaw,
Hmm.
you know, group to being, no, this is how it goes. This is how we need to do it. You
Right.
guys need to be professional about this.
So it's definitely interesting how they've kind of built a theme around it about the New Republic not really being liked, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, welcome back. But yeah, so I think it's kind of interesting that that that's like the theme they're building. I think it's kind of fun, kind of makes sense with episode 7, the sequels, how the New Republic really just kind of falls apart and everyone's like, oh, well, shit,
Oh,
but it happens.
right. Because I mean, not like I haven't seen it twice before.
True. It's been a rough like 50 years for those people.
I know.
It's a jacked up place to live. But I did really like how much Baby Yoda was involved. He was adorable, and it was very much, it felt like the dad show, don't do
Dude, yes.
that. Hey, come on, come
Dad
with
move.
me. Things like that. Freaking eating those eggs. So, like, what the hell? At the end, he's like,
Like, where did you get the last
you're
one?
like, what? Where has that been? What the hell? Bad Baby Yoda. Bad. So that was just awful, but like hilarious. I wonder how many of those he ate, because it's gotta have been a lot. He's just like
I
every
think we
five
saw him
seconds. Just,
eat like at least 4.
yeah,
We saw him eat at least 4 of them.
true. So it's kind of rough. Freaking Baby Yoda was just hungry on this episode. Maybe he's gonna grow an inch or something. But I don't know. I thought it was cute. He had him in like a bag, and then I loved the little hammock that he got to sleep in. Like that was adorable. Just like swinging in his hammock. I was like, do I need to build a hammock for my Baby Yoda? Oh, you have your sabak cards. The use of sabak was really cool, and even
Mm-hmm.
calling out a specific hand of sabak, that was cool.
Yeah.
What was it? What did they have? An idiot's array? Was that what it was?
Yeah. Idiot's Spray. Let me tell
So,
you what it is.
but I thought that was cool. They incorporated sabak in the cantina. I mean, it was very Star Warsy right there. And then we had Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Oh my gosh. Idiot's Array is the name of a Star Wars Rebels episode because they're playing Sabak in that episode.
Oh, that's right. That's where they play it with Lando, right?
Mm-hmm.
Freaking Filoni. He's like, let me reference myself again. But no, it was cool. And then they even had, I don't know if I said this, that they had Richard Ayoade come back, and do the voice work for the droid again. So that was cool. Just even bring him back for like, what's he say, 3 lines. So overall, I thought it was a fun episode that went nowhere, with neat tidbits of Star Wars lore and just adorable scenes with Baby Yoda. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I guess really that first 10 minutes I think was just super cool. But I guess Tatooine honestly is always just time for like some nostalgia and hidden pieces. And Mallory has no idea what her hands are.
I know it's in here.
I don't believe you.
Because I remember freaking out about it when I first saw it. Oh, okay.
Oh, here you go. Idiot's Array is a winning hand in the card game Sabacc. It was used by Lando Calrissian to beat Garazeb Aurelius. So that's the hand that Lando even uses in
Mm-hmm.
the
What is that?
in it. So that's really cool that it's a specific hand that Lando had used in the Rebels show, and
Oh, yeah,
it's
maybe the cheetah.
comprised
Yeah.
of the cards 2, 3, and the idiot. So definitely
Dude, I
look
paid
into playing
$17
Sabacc if that
for it.
sounds interesting. What?
I paid $17.
Well, isn't there like a $50 one?
No?
17's not bad. I spent like $10 for a regular pack of cards. For like my Star Wars playing cards, just regular playing cards, not Sabacc cards. But
Yeah. Sub-hot cards at Target now, and they're lame.
yeah,
I'm
no,
gonna
the
have
like
copies.
Target and Walmart ones are not fun. They're not even like the same game really. So, but it was a fun episode overall, I guess is the moral of the story. But I
Mm-hmm.
think next week will be a lot more interesting
For
because I
sure.
imagine us actually arriving at our planet Trask practically at the beginning of the episode. I can't imagine they're going to show them like just limping along through space. So, Unless they're gonna show freaking Baby Yoda just like slurping down more of those freaking eggs, which would be awful.
Right.
She'd be
It's gonna be
out
like
by then. These are the last of
it's
my
gonna be like the
species.
Rebels episode where
There's
they're
only
just
three
floating
of
through
them.
space looking for fuel.
Yeah, that episode sucks. There's a couple of episodes in Rebels you're like, this is awful.
Yeah. But hey, that episode ended up playing a huge part in
What
the
about the
overall story.
episode where they have to go get that stupid ass fruit for Hera?
The main one is teaching camaraderie, season 1.
Yeah, it's so dumb. There's some dumb episodes, but there's some great episodes.
I like that episode.
Of course you do. But anyways, it's a mediocre episode, but setting up hopefully some cool stuff next time. And I'm liking
Mm-hmm.
all of the episodes have been longer, I think holistically. This one was about 37 minutes long
Mm-hmm.
without, the 5 minutes of credits that they have with the really cool artwork. So,
Speaking of, do you want to send me some of that artwork? I can't screenshot it.
yup. Which just tell me what stuff you want and I will send it to you. But I guess that's it for the streams, folks. I hope you thought this was interesting, and I hope you go and watch The Mandalorian. Because even though this might be one of my lower ranked episodes, honestly, it was probably, I mean, there's 10 episodes. If I were to rank them 1 through 10 on my favorites, this would probably be number 10 for me. Um, just because it doesn't build too much on existing Star Wars lore, and it doesn't progress the story too much. But
That's too spoiler.
and spiders are creepy as shit. That's the other reason that it's probably 10th.
That's too
But
spoiler.
it's still a fun episode, and Mando's always great. And let's be real, it's the best thing that's happened this week. So there's that.
Agreed.
So as always, may the force be with you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful evening, or I guess it's morning. I don't know. But go watch Mando, and yeah, have a great weekend ahead of you guys, and we'll be back streaming Star Wars on Monday and playing video games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Actually, maybe not Monday. Stay tuned for Monday. Mondays have gone busy. But at least Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and of course we'll be doing this again Thursday night, and we'll probably have Cody in as well. So Mallory is tired. Yeah, Mallory about to fall asleep. But thanks for hanging out,
Mm-hmm.
Andrew. It's nice to hang out with you. And anyone else who stayed around, we appreciate your hanging out with us and keeping us entertained. So take care, everybody, and